Welcome back to the Citizen channel. I hope you're all staying safe and well. And our Qatar 22 World Cup update with a sky blue thread where we can get it. Obviously, not every game has a City player in it, but of course, with special emphasis on the City boys and just a report on how it's going, how the old World Cup's going. So we're on day 8 as match day 2 continues. Please, if you are new to the channel, push that subscribe button, push the bell notifications. All things City, of course, normally past, present, and forever. Lots of history stuff, lots of current stuff as well. So it'd be great if you can join us and please spread the word. And to an old City fan, very, very happy. Just push that little button if you can, guys. Just much appreciated. It's nice to get views, but if you push that like button or the thumbs up button, whichever it is, it'd be great. It'd be great for me, and it'd be great to have all your comments as well. Let me know who you think's going to win the World Cup, stuff like that. Yeah, on to Saturday's later kickoff on day 7, of course. The 7 p.m. kickoff was Group C, Argentina 2, Mexico 0 from the Lusail Stadium. Alvarez, unfortunately, on the bench again, or started on the bench. Ex-Blue Otamendi, though, started again. In a much changed Argentine defence. So at least the manager kept him on, which I think was fair enough. I thought he played quite well in the first game, even though they got beat. Mexico were disrupting anything the Argentinians could do for the first 30 minutes, and chances were few and far between. A few studs being left in, which you'd expect from these Pan American games, whatever they're called, and it became a bit of a stop-start affair. Certainly no surprise stalemate at half-time. And in the second half, it started pretty much the same, no real change until 63 minutes. Yes, our old Alvarez came on, didn't he? I'm not saying he influenced the game or did an assist or scored a goal, but I think just the fact of his pace brought a little bit of a change. And a minute later, Argentina scored through Messi, of course, who... many people have been criticising for standing around not doing much. I don't think we can say too much. I don't have a bit of that from KDB. But I think both players are just give up on the fellow players. In all fairness, but of course Alvarez' influence was there. He sort of took defenders way out of the way while Messi made it 1-0. Yeah, on 87 minutes, it's 2-0 as well through Fernandez. Nice little curling shot from the edge of the box. And Mexico were struggling. To get anything before this. So that was surely game over. And it did end Argentina 2, Mexico 0. The XG philosophy, Argentina's was 0.29, so they did very well, didn't they? Mexico's was 0.22, so not the greatest game, but results that matters, doesn't it, as far as Argentina is concerned. That put them on 3 points now with a +1 goal difference, and left Mexico just on the 1 point with a -2. Yeah, an okay cameo from Alvarez, always lively, and I was quite impressed with Otamendi. I think he's well suited to this sort of battle. I think it suited him down to the ground, and he had a good game. Right, on to day 8, Sunday the 27th of November. The early kickoff, the 10 a.m. kickoff. Japan 0 in Group E. Japan 0, Costa Rica 0. The Ahmad bin Ali Stadium. Michael Oliver was the referee. Yeah, the first English referee since Howard Webb. That just shows how rubbish our refs are in the World Cup finals. Anyway, of course, we are allowed to do internationals, etc. So that was 8 years ago, Howard Webb. Feels longer than that. First knock-ins, Costa, as is their way, playing pretty deep, unexciting stuff from Costa Rica. They just didn't want to let get hammered, did they? That was basically it. And Japan really weren't able to create that much against the sort of blanket defence. So not the greatest first 25 minutes of this World Cup. As the half did progress, Japan unable to break Costa down. Just became a bit more frustrated, as you'd expect, and there's 1 minute added time. Thankfully only 1 minute added time, and it was a pretty feeble first half, and they went in 0-0. Japan, as they did against Germany, changed the game in their favour, made early substitutions after half-time, but the breakthrough still eluded them. And Costa sort of remained determined not to concede one, never mind the 7 they conceded last time. But as ever, sod's law, in the 81st minute, a rare Costa foray up front, and it's 1-0 after Japan don't clear as Fuller's shot is touched by the fingertips of the Japan keeper, but he can't keep it out. A lot of criticism, he was too far out, etc., etc., which is a shame. But hey, don't be too much of a downer on him. Costa, of course, eat into that -7 goal difference, reduce it by the one, and that was their first shot on target of the competition. Says it all, really, doesn't it? With that 9 minutes plus 6 injury time, Japan had a couple of good chances, but couldn't find the equaliser. So it ended Japan 0, Costa Rica 1. The XG philosophy, Japan 1.05, so a bit disappointing, and Costa just 0.12. It's a funny old game, isn't it? And Japan so end up now with 2 games played, 3 points and 0 goal difference. And the Costas end up with 3 points and a -6 goal difference. So at least Japan are still above them in the table. At 1 p.m, we had the Belgium-Morocco game. I was looking forward to this with KDB. So he's got a bit more animated this time. This is at the Al Mama Stadium. Could they perform a little better than the first game? Although a win, and they were far from convincing against Canada, of course, with that win. You just couldn't, on the day, put their chances away. It could have been all so different. Bono, as the goalkeeper's a late dropout. Yeah, he went out there, sung the national anthem, and then complained there was something wrong with his vision, apparently. So the other goalkeeper quickly took his place. And got a few hugs from his comrades. That was nice to see. Early chance from a livelier Belgium. I thought they started this pretty well early doors. But as the half progresses, Belgium dominated, but they just can't find a way through. And out of nothing, in a minute of injury time, from a free kick, Morocco take the lead. But gratefully for Belgium, it was ruled out for offside. So perhaps that'll sting them into action in the second half, or perhaps it won't. But it did show that Belgium needed to show that dominance, or turn that dominance they had in the first half into goals. 0-0 half time. More or less the same pattern for the second half. Morocco camped in their own half, playing a tight lines. Belgium not being able to get behind, and Kevin not finding any players. But then on 73 minutes, probably gets a run of play. A Morocco Sabiri free kick catches out the best goalie in the world. Yes, Courtois, as it sneaks under him. Pretty awful. There was also a Moroccan player in his way there that's sort of in a similar way. The first one was chalked off for offside. This guy wasn't offside this time, but pretty awful from Courtois. I don't know. I think he was coming for a cross and it snuck in nearer the front post. Belgium did try again. KDB again seemed to lack a little bit of energy. He didn't have a particularly bad game. He just didn't have a particularly good game. And like the rest of the team, they couldn't find that bit of quality to break down Morocco. On 92 minutes, Morocco had insult to injury with a second from a pullback from Aboukiel. He hits the roof of the net from close in, and it's 2-0. As for KDB, well, summing up, a lack of fizz, I think, with KDB. He's already said they're not going to win this, which a lot of people have objected to. He just tells it as it is, but perhaps you should at least sound positive, shouldn't you? But as I said, funny game. He wasn't particularly any worse than his teammates. He was hoping to try and find Lukaku later on. I think he works quite well with Lukaku, but it just didn't come off. There's not enough time. But no magic, that was for sure. Belgium 0, Morocco 2. The XG philosophy, Belgium was 0.99 and Morocco just 0.56. It's a funny old game, as we said, yes. So Belgium end up, after game 2, 3 points, a -1 goal difference, and Morocco 4 points, +2, so they're in a good position. The 4 p.m. kickoff matched in Group F, matched Croatia with Canada. A 3-1 victory. A 4-1 victory to Croatia. I must have typed this up just before the end in the Khalifa International Stadium. It was certainly the quickest goal, but it wasn't from Croatia. 67 seconds, the quickest this tournament, and Canada ahead. A Davis nods home. Great start, great cross, and of course that made up for the miss. Well, it didn't make up for it, but that sort of faded the memory of his missed penalty against Belgium in the last game. The game followed pretty much a pattern of Canada always a threat, and Croatia just a little less intensive, even though they were a goal down. But they did have a goal ruled out for offside on 26 minutes, and then began to have the better possession and chances, and they got a thoroughly deserved goal by this time on 36 minutes through Kramaric from shot in from an angle after a good build-up. And on 44 minutes, Croatia took, again, thoroughly deserved a lead. A great strike by Livadja. So it was half-time. It was 2-1. And it seemed even then a long way back for Canada. But we knew they were plucky. We knew they'd have a go. And as the second half started, they did it a bit more end-to-end, both playing positive football, which is really nice to see. But on 70 minutes, Canada's hopes were dashed when Kramaric fires home a Croatian third. Surely all over for Canada. And Croatia then sort of showed the golfing class. But to their credit, Canada never give up. They had a go, and obviously pushing forward, there were always laps for the breakaway. And perhaps a little bit unfairly, a fourth from Croatia, say a couple of minutes into injury time from an error. And it ended up with two Croatians bearing down on the goal. And a tap in for Meyer, as of course, not just the keeper to beat. Croatia 4, Canada 1. So yeah, good performance from Croatia, but all credit to Canada. I think Canada will come out of this competition with a lot of credit. XG philosophy. Croatia 3.16, scored 4 goals. Canada 0.51, scored 1 goal. So they were overperforming this time, not unlike the last game. And Croatia have now got 4 points with a +3 goal difference. Of course, Canada have got 0 points with a -4. So brave, plucky Canada. Never mind. And the late game, of course, which will be played after I'm doing this, and the late game, which we'll talk about tomorrow, 7 p.m, of course, one I'm looking forward to, Group E, Spain versus Germany, so that should be good. 3 points, Spain are on 3 points with a +7 goal difference, of course, and Germany need the win, don't they? I think if Germany loses, I think it's fair to say they're out, certainly almost out, but they could be out, actually, looking at obviously the other game that was played in the group. No points, -1. This is at the Al-Bayt Stadium. So we'll have a look. That's on the BBC, isn't it? That's on the BBC. And on to Monday, just a quick look at what's coming up on Monday. 10 a.m, the early kickoff. Group G, Cameroon versus Serbia. Cameroon have got no points, -1 goal difference. And Serbia have got no points, -2 difference at the Al Janoub Stadium. Serbia will hope to get points on the board in this one, and I think they'll start favourites. But Cameroon might do something, you never know, but I think Serbia are slight favourites for this. 1 p.m, we've got a Group H game, South Korea versus Ghana. South Korea on 1 point with a 0 goal difference, and Ghana on no points with a -1 goal difference. This is at the Education City Stadium. Looks like a tight game on paper, but it's played on grass, of course. South Korea will have to improve on the Uruguay effort, of course. Ghana, same again, despite defeat to Portugal. I think that's what they're going to have to try and do. I fancy a draw for that one, but at this stage with 2 games, you never know. There's usually a victor. There's not too much negativity at this stage now. 4 p.m, we've got the Group G game, Brazil versus Switzerland. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of City interest in this one. 3 points for Brazil at the moment, +2. 3 points for the Swiss with a +1 goal difference. Stadium 974. I love that stadium. Brazil need to start a little bit early. Steve needs to start a bit earlier than they have been doing. But of course, this looks very tough for Swiss, who no doubt will be organised, and the Kanji and the defence are pretty good. But I think Brazil should sort of claim a win in this one. And the final game of the day tomorrow, of course, is Portugal. So we'll have plenty of City interest versus Uruguay. Yeah, Portugal on 3 points. It's Group H, 3 points with a +1 goal difference. Uruguay just 1 point with a 0 goal difference. This is at Lusail Stadium. So Uruguay will have to improve a lot. They were awful. They were awful in their first game, weren't they? But Portugal too was surely better than their first game. I don't think Portugal played that well. It's certainly another interesting match for me. As I say, it all depends if Uruguay starts to play a little bit of football. They were so negative in the first game. And it also depends on just how Portugal play. Perhaps they'll grow into the competition. They didn't look overly impressive for me in the victory in the first game. So there you go, guys. That's what's coming up. That's what's gone. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me know your comments. Let me know who you think will win the World Cup. And it'll be great to see you again tomorrow with our latest report. Thanks for watching, guys. Please, until we meet again, I only ask one thing, don't I? Please stay safe, everyone. Bye for now.